Musicman here, back with another Identity 5 video, and this is going to be my spawn point guide on Arms Factory. Alright, so here we're going to start with spawn group 1. I'm going to start by defining my areas. So this area here, this is Shack. Shack is a relatively rougher area for most survivors to kite around, although there are still some areas. In my opinion, there's not a single area that's particularly great for a hunter to chase at. But it's mostly like pick your poison, what's the lesser evil, and Shack can be a pretty decent area for you to go to as a hunter. This area is Factory. Factory, you 100% want to stay away from. You got the double windows there. You've got the God pallet and coming out of the factory, and then you have all of these pallets and tight kiting areas for survivors to go against. So that should be the least prioritized of all of your spawn points. Unless if sometimes you can get nice mirrors early game right on Arms Factor, but that requires a lot of experience and precision, in my opinion. Because if you fail that mirror, then you're forced to chase Arms Factory, essentially, because that's where your first mirror landed, and that can a lot of times end up being pretty rough. So let's see if I get this right. This area here, this is sandbags. And this area here is deep ruins. In my opinion, sandbags is slightly more broken than deep ruins, although they are both pretty tough areas for hunters to chase. I just find that the layout in sandbags is a little bit better for a better layout for survivors to kite hunters at. So, but generally speaking, if you can avoid chasing survivors in these areas, you probably should. Although you can justify going to that area if there's no better area for you to go to, or if the specific spawn point is that would be a better chase is like far away from all the other survivors, which can be tough on you later on if you come across like the Merc first or something. But either way, this area here, this is middle. Call this area like the 3 pallet because you got that 3 pallet there. Decent jump scare area. This area is where you've got that new Cypher machine spawn. I call that area T-wall because you got the T-wall there. And this area is water jug. I just call it that because that's where that Cypher spawns, and there's like a big water tower that's there. This area, Arms Gate, Shack Gate. Yeah, so let's get into the analysis. So, spawn group 1 is the sandbag spawn, and what I typically like to do when I get this spawn is I can sometimes look to see what survivor is at 3 pallet there, but ideally the best spawn point to go is that Shack because you got survivor that spawns here, survivor that spawns here, and actually oftentimes you can see like what survivor that is off in the distance, so you can either take that chase up early or you can look for, you can basically cut diagonally until you find a survivor that you really want to target. But generally speaking, going straight to Shack will work for spawn group 1. So now we can move on to spawn group 2, which is factory spawn. So what I tend to do when I go to factory spawn is that I will start coming sort of like a diagonal, kind of like this. I'll be able to check out this survivor is likely to come this way, that survivor is likely to go over there. And although that sometimes leads you to need to chase sandbags, these two survivors will oftentimes end up close together, so you can look at 2 targets within a short amount of time and see if either one is a good chase to pick up. They do have full potential of kiting in sandbags there, although I personally find that if you go to like Shack or you go to start going towards the ruins type area, that tends to put you far away from the other survivors if it's not a survivor worth chasing. So now we can move on to spawn group 3. Spawn group 3 is the ruin spawn. And what I like to do, especially if I'm a bloody queen, what I'll do is I'll have my main body going towards the 3 palette here. And if I see this survivor's not someone I want to chase, what I'll do is I'll mirror on that cipher at arms. I like to just kind of do that so I'll be able to see what survivor this is right here. And I'll be able to see what survivor is decoding there. And oftentimes, I would say probably 90% of the time, get like an easy mirror that way. Although, if you're like a Wu Chang in Arms Factory, you can justify just teleporting right to Shack spawn and seeing. I think Shack is usually where most Wu Changs tend to want to teleport first. At least that's been my experience, and what I've seen is that the Wu Chang will typically, when there's a Shack spawn, the Wu Chang will teleport to Shack. But that's all about knowing your spawn points and what areas are strong and weak with them. But yeah, so that's spawn group 3. Now we're going to move on to spawn group 4, which is sort of like the Shack gate spawn. And what I like to do here is I like to sort of come straight here. This survivor is likely to sort of run out in the open for a little while, and that tends to favor me because I'll be able to see what survivor that is. If that survivor is not worth chasing, I'll switch targets to whatever survivor is right here. That usually tends to be my plan there. And then after that, if neither of them are survivors worth chasing, the other two are towards arms, but at that point, they've probably rotated so much at that point, then going to that area is typically not gonna be always reliable of having your ideal survivor spawn there. Either way, you'd be chasing arms, but likely you're gonna have to look around after that to see what ciphers are wiggling, to see what area you might want to chase after that. And that's what you got to do when you're getting rotated. That's why I'll carry teleport with Anne when I decide to play Anne. If I don't find survivors worth targeting, I'll look around, see what cipher is wiggling, and I'll teleport right there. Whichever one is wiggling the most violently is most likely the decoder. But yeah, so that's spawn group 4. And now we're going to move on to spawn group 5, which is the Shack spawn. So this is a decent spawn for hunters. This survivor is likely to come up to 3 pallet here. And what I like to do here is I'll be able to come up this way. I'll see what survivor this is, but if that's not someone worth chasing, the other two here, this survivor is likely going to go to sort of like the water jug cipher there, and this survivor is likely to go to arms. What I like typically do is go to like that cipher that's at the water jug spawn. You can justify going to this survivor right here, but then he has full reign of sandbags, and these other two survivors can rotate out of there. And I just find that if that survivor's not one you're looking for, then the other 3 end up being on the other side of the map from you if they have any sort of communication. So not super ideal for you to go to, in my opinion. But yeah, if you're a Wu Chang, you probably are going to want to go to that 3 pallet anyways, or sort of past there. But yeah, that's kind of the gist of spawn group 5. So now we're going to move on to our final spawn group 6, which is sort of at that new cipher T-wall spawn. And what I like to do when I get this spawn is I'll either just make a decision. I can go to 3 pallet, that's perfectly fine. But also sometimes I'll go over here to this Shack spawn, and that's actually probably the more ideal way to go anyways, because you got 2 survivors within a small radius. If one survivor is not one you're looking for, you can go to the other, and Shack is typically not quite as strong of an area for a survivor to kite at, so that might be an ideal area for you to think about going to first. Obviously, survivor in arms, not first priority unless if it's like a Mind's Eye and a triple rescue team comp or something like that. But yeah, I think that pretty much sums up the last spawn point. And yeah, thanks for watching. Well, I hope you all enjoyed that video. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comment section below, and I'll see you next time.